Well, hey there, YouTube. It's Petey. Now, I had already made an upload today. I did an edit on it to try to reduce the file size, but anyway, I talked about Pink Floyd in that video. You guys know my feelings. I'm a fan of Pink Floyd. I like Roger Waters, Dave Gilmour, Nick Mason, and Rick Wright. I like all those guys. I would rather try to focus on the good in that music and the hope that it represents for me than character assassination, hearsay, falsehoods, rumors, and lies. So I'm gonna try to be more positive when I talk about Pink Floyd, but it seems like there's so much hate and division amongst the fans that it makes it important for me to speak my piece whenever I have a chance in a comment section, which is kind of pointless. I think the message that I should be trying to preach would be more of a message of unity rather than choosing a side or trying to explain how I see the history of the band, because I view it a little differently than other people. There's a group of people that just vilify one guy in person, and I don't really see it so much as that way. And also, I don't think it's really the point. Pink Floyd music has a point. Hate is missing the point. That music was about love. So, moving on, there is a video that came out recently. I made the mistake of watching the video. It's a clickbait video. It's something like Roger Waters finally come clean about Richard Wright. And the thumbnail for that video has text that says, "He is a creep." So you watch this 15-minute long, 10, however long it was thing, and never once is the word creep mentioned. It just kind of keeps beating you over the head. Roger bad, Rick good. And they show pictures of Rick where he's clean shaven and smiling, and they show pictures of Roger where he's like So I wanted to talk about the Stratocaster modification that I stumbled upon. So first off, I have to say I really am a fan of this company. Everything about what they do, I think it's almost like weird that Leo, he just hit it. He just knocked it out of the park. Like everything he designed was like, the first guitar, first solid body electric guitar, he gets it right. He does the solid body electric bass guitar, he invents that and gets that right. And then he invents the Stratocaster, which was the long-standing apex of guitar development. When he designed the Stratocaster, there really wasn't anything that improved on that design for a really long time. And the next design was a Super Strat. It was a modification on the Strat where they changed out the bridge pickup to a humbucker. So it's a double pickup, so it doesn't hum and it gets high gain. And then they fixed the tuning stability by adding a better machined bridge, whammy bar, tremolo, and a lock to stop the strings from drifting on the top of the nut. And that's where we're at now. Like, yes, there is the Parker advanced it, like with his fly design or night fly, whatever that was called, Parker fly. But really, like, the thing that's so great about Leo Fender was a great way to put it is he was like the Leo Fender or he was like the Henry Ford of guitar, is how I heard, I think Adrian Belew put it that way. Meaning, he not only did he come up with these fantabulous designs that you like kind of would have to really work difficult to top them. And the other thing that he did was he turned it into a factory where he made it economically viable that anybody that worked a full-time job could have save up a little extra money and afford to buy a quality instrument. And the way that he did that was by having an assembly line and reducing the costs of the assembly process, whereas Gibson was like fine handcrafted guitars where the necks were glued in and you couldn't like strip them down, replace the neck if the neck broke, or refinish it. You couldn't paint it. Like Fenders were made like to be customized, it seemed like, too. There was that aspect of it, which is really appealing to a personality type like me, because I like to tinker and experiment. So that is what makes Fender so incredibly appealing to me. Gee, what a great day. I made a video about the best band in the world and the best guitar company in the world. What a fun day that I had today. So coming off of all that, I really wanted to express, kind of explain why I love Fender. And then the other thing is how I hold Leo and his work in such a high regard before I come on here and go, I got a mod for the Strat, because I got to be perfect. I got to be clear and say, this mod will not last on my guitar. There's no way I'm going to leave this on there. And that goes back to that you can't tamper with perfection. So it doesn't even, after saying all of that, now I'm going to go so far and say, okay, there's a problem with his design, which is a terrible thing to say. But what I've been running into, at the end of the set, we play a couple songs. One of them is kind of technique-y, like there's a lot of technique and some tricks that I do. And it changes. There's like a clean part, and then there's a real distorted part. And they go back and forth between those two styles. Then the next piece of music is like a hillbilly breakdown, like a full-on, like on Yeehaw, Hee-Haw, when they would, like a barn burner, barn stopping jam where you're playing as fast as you can, finger picking and a flying, and like a plane coming down to buzz the cornfield, you're going 180 miles an hour. Those two songs are at the end of our set, and what I'm running into is I keep finding that the volume knob is turning itself down. Somehow I'm bumping the volume and not noticing it, and it's reducing the volume and making a real problem for me. And then I have to pull myself out of my concentration zone where I need to be to play these songs. I have to really focus on my playing. And I got to think about trying to, when I can find time in between the notes to turn the knob up and then get back to playing. And it's causing me to not be able to perform these songs properly. So I'm blaming Leo Fender for my shortcomings as a guitar player. And I'm thinking I'm smarter than him with this it's a finger guard that I've installed on the top potentiometer. See, the issue I'm running into is this gap in between where the pickup is, where my hand sits, this knob is too close. Really, it needs to be moved down. If we move this knob down to here, or had smaller knobs, or like moved this to here or here, or got rid of it. So people do different things. There's like a click, set it and forget it thing where you pull this little latch out. There's another thing where it clicks, click, click, click. There's another one where you just take the knob off and you use a washer. They said you can modify these Grolsches. You can order these Grolsches from, I get mine from AliExpress. So anywhere you get Amazon or eBay or whatever, you get these little doohickeys. They're strap locks. You pop these onto over your strap, and it makes sure that it'll keep the strap on a little better than not having one of these. So if the problem with this is it's a little thick, you can put this in a vise, apparently, I heard, and use a real fresh razor blade and trim this down. This guy said you cut it in half and then you turn it back around and cut it in half again, and you pull the knob off of here, and then you put this underneath on top of the shaft, and you have it underneath the knob. You put the knob back on with this underneath it, and that will cause friction to where you have to forcibly adjust the volume control. So the number one thing is I'm replacing these potentiometers with a larger diameter that's more sturdy, and it's got a little bit more natural resistance. Then there's this gobber stopper. If you're having a seizure, if you're a person that suffers cerebral palsy, or you've been sprayed with some sort of chemical weapon, and you're like maybe you're speaking in tongues and you're possessed by demons and you're having a fit. Maybe it's the devil himself. Whatever your affliction may be, you can make one of these, and this is the whole purpose of this video, is to show you guys this ridiculous modification I've come up, this is a game of how long is it going to be before the Stratocaster is returned to stock. Because Leo, you can't beat his design. But the Stratocaster being so perfect in what it is, when there is a flaw like this, the rule would be that if all of this is true, that I would not be the only player who experienced this and considers it an issue. And that's true. If you look it up, there's a bunch of people who have thought through this and tried different solutions. I'm not saying that this is a smart one. I saw that they sell I believe it's 3D printed version of this. And that one, I believe it may be that how this is kind of just a 90 degree, that one may be angled and it may fit around the knob with less wasted space. Like this is more getting in the way. So I don't know how this feels yet on the guitar. I don't know if I can rest my finger there now and play, or I do know it seems like it could work. So I wanted to share this, and if you have your own twist on a modification or a fix for the number one volume control, your volume getting turned down while you're playing a Strat problem. Turn down, turn down, turn up, turn up, turn up. It's special time for petey. Special needs two finger. And again, with a Strat, even changing the knobs, like I put brass knobs on my Squire that I redid and refinished, and it's a downgrade. The stock Stratocaster knobs is part of the design which makes the Stratocaster what it is, which is it's perfect. So this is a terrible idea. It ruins the Stratocaster. I've got to be realistic about it. I haven't tried it yet, and for some of you, maybe this would work. Maybe it would. Maybe it wouldn't bother you. Maybe it would solve the problem and it wouldn't get in the way. I don't think that's the case. I think the problem with this is going to be it's going to make another problem. It's going to get in the way. So that's why it's like, if you get a push-pull pot and you wire that push-pull switch to bypass your volume knob and maybe even the tone control, that would probably be a better mod. I would equally think that, okay, they sell these toggle switches now. The typical, I don't have one in front of me right now. The typical smaller toggle switch is a little chrome piece that's about, it's over a centimeter. You know, it's probably like 11 mil, maybe it's just a centimeter long. But they sell toggle switches that are half of that. They're shorties. So I like the idea of putting a shorty toggle in. They say you put that in here, but man, I would ultimately really like that to be up here if I had a choice. And you could, before the song starts, if it's a song where you just need it on 10 and you know that you're going to be bumping it, you could turn that on, and then when the song's over, you could turn it off, check your knob, and go back to playing. So I think ultimately that idea is better than this. The idea of using the push-pull is an option to have a switch, an additional switch on the Strat design that could defeat the volume control. But then you got to buy a push-pull part, and they're expensive, and they look like they would fail to me. They look like they wouldn't last real long. Like the diameter of the push rod, it just doesn't. It's a moving part, and it. So again, you can't really top a perfect design, but at the same time, there is this issue that people have with Leo's design. I'm not going to say it's a problem with the design. People have a problem. People are unable to operate the instrument properly without turning the volume down. It's where it is for a reason, so you can wrap your little finger around it and do volume swells. Like really, that's the solution, is you have to do like what Adrian Ballou taught himself to do, which is operate the volume knob with your pinky. Train yourself. So that would be an exercise I need to do. See, I'm working through this here on this video. It's 20 minutes long. That's the modification to fix Leo's design. You don't modify his design. You modify your operational procedure by training your pinky to, without any additional forethought, your pinky just knows, hey, you need to go down and check the volume and make sure that it's turned all the way up. And that operation has to happen flawlessly without taking any, without requiring any additional thought, because all additional thought power is going into this stuff, right? Does that sound good? Anyway, you guys, thanks for joining me on this. It was way too wordy. I got to try to dance around stuff because I don't want to come out like, okay, kids, here's how you fix Leo Fender's problem. You know what I mean? Like, I never come on here and go, okay, kids. I've never said that. Kiddies, I've never said that. And again, like I brought up, you never get credit for being humble or when you choose to do the right thing. You don't get any gold star on your name on the chart next to your name for choosing to take the high road. So I guess I'll say, okay, kids. Anyway, what I like to say is hug your pets. Merry Christmas and peace.